17. It's Money Math Monday on the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, and I'm your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes, CEO and founder of Systro, organization strategist for small business, pointing you to the principles that will help you progress purposefully toward your profitability and prosperity. Buckle up. Today's Money Math Monday is a blast. Today's money math model is break the boldly bodacious down to the blatantly basic. Know your numbers. If you are in business and have not heard this money math mantra, then you are probably not purposefully profitable. Since the number of numbers to know can be overwhelming, we're going to start with the very first, most basic number you must know. This number forms the foundation of everything else you do and helps you to make purposeful decisions from day one. It's this number that determines your life goal. There are important non-financial things you want to do with your life, and those are great. We'll get back to them. But you won't be able to do most of them without money. This concept is explained in detail in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, which was highlighted in the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, Teach Yourself Thursday, episode 5. Even if you intend to use someone else's money, as in running a nonprofit, you still need to know how much to ask for. As a personal goal, this number ought to be a large number, a bodacious number. And if it is one that you will not believe is possible to achieve. But believe me, it is. And on this Money Math Monday, you will learn how to make it so. The approach I use is something I refer to as the breakdown. I could probably come up with a more sophisticated name, but I just refer to it as what it is and what it does. The breakdown can be applied to anything you do, and the idea is to simply break a goal that is massive in magnitude into small chunks that are manageable, easy to accomplish, and motivating in execution. I will use the example of how I personally use the breakdown, and then I will show how it applies by using it with today's financial freedom formula. When I was in college, I stumbled onto the benefits of a daily run. Over the years, the distance has varied, and I have taken months off at a time, either when the weather got bad or I just got burned out. That is, until 3 years ago, when I decided to retire from playing recreational basketball. At that time, I realized that I needed to replace my basketball exercise with something, and a consistent running program seemed to be the logical choice. Up until that time, I had always planned to run 7 days a week, but sometimes it would turn out to be 4 days, or I might skip a couple of months, no big deal, because I was playing basketball twice a week. Now, I had a compelling purpose. If I did not replace the basketball exercise, I would see the results around my waist, and more importantly, in the fit of my clothes. I'm frugal, and I hate to shop. So staying in shape in order that my clothes continue to fit was very important to me. That first year, I decided to set a goal of 1,200 miles for the year. A nice round figure. 12 months broke down to 100 miles per month. 100 miles per month broke down to roughly 25 miles per week and roughly 3.5 miles a day. If I hit those numbers, I would meet or exceed my goal. What I didn't realize when I set this goal was the freedom that it actually afforded me. Although I needed to run nearly every day, there was a built-in overage. If you do the math, you'll find that 25 miles per week times 52 weeks equals 1,300 miles, which meant that I didn't have to run every day. It also meant that if I decided to run 5 miles instead of 3.5 miles, I could get ahead. And if I took a day off, I could easily catch up. For example, I could add an extra half mile each day for 7 days and be right back on track. It was a tremendous challenge that first year, but I made it. In the process, I learned that 1,200 miles took too much time given the other goals I had. So I adjusted the number to 1,000 miles, and for the past 2 years, I have maintained the goal at 1,000 miles, which breaks down to 84 miles per week and 3 miles per day. Last year, I was ahead for the entire year and met my distance goal before Christmas. This year, I'm a little behind because I only ran 35 miles in February, and the heat of summer made it sensible to shorten my daily distances in June and July. But I'm only 8 miles off my target with 3 months to go. In order to catch up, I've added some distance on the cooler days and doubled up on my daily run when the activities on my calendar and the temperature allowed me to do so. The key point is, I'm not stressed. I know where I am in my progression toward meeting my annual goal, and I know what it takes to be successful every single day. Last year, I did very little work on my abs, and I think it affected my stamina during my run. So this year, I set a goal to do, wait for it, 100,000 sit-ups. Sounds crazy, right? But that's 300 sit-ups per day, which I break down even further into sets of 50 or 100 and disperse the work throughout the day. At mid-year, I was right on track at 50,150 sit-ups. Since my goals are not your goals, I'm not recommending that you try this. I have been in this running mode for more than 35 years. This is only an example of how to break down a massive number to make it more manageable. Depending on your goals, your health, and your level of fitness, your bodacious goal might be 350 miles of walking in 1 year, which would break down to roughly a very manageable 1 mile per day. An added and unanticipated benefit of my daily run was the mental aspect. My run serves as a meditation, cleansing, and clarity. I work through issues and challenges, and I tend to come up with creative ideas for both present and future activities. And my run helps me maintain my sanity. Being an entrepreneur can drive you crazy if you let it, but it can also be the most exhilarating and rewarding experience in the world. My run helps me process my wins and losses and treat those two imposters just the same. If you haven't heard that phrase, I will share where it came from and why it's important to me in a later episode. My method for making sure I achieved the desired outcome of fitting my clothes was to run, and my measurement was to set a goal of 1,000 miles or more for the year and make it. The breakdown is what enables me to make a massive goal manageable and even inspirational. As the miles pile up through the year, it becomes a motivating factor to not miss a day. I use a GPS watch to track my miles, so when I recharge the watch, I also download my run data into the computer. I can see the route, the overall time, minutes per mile average, and the minutes per mile for each mile individually. I can ask myself, why did I run faster on this day and slower on that day? Why did I feel better on this day and like crap on that day? I can look at the temperature and the humidity and the time of day and the location and the changes in elevation. I can determine trends, and if I wanted to, I could build a training program to get better. My desired outcome is not to get better. I'm not involved in any competitive sports. My desired outcome is to complete each and every run. So I compete with myself to make sure I never quit, to finish the predetermined distance of the day. By completing this run every day, I have ensured my success. If I am successful for 7 days, then I've had a successful week. If I'm successful for 4 or 5 weeks, then I've had a successful month. if I'm successful for 12 months, then I've had a successful year. And if I have success year after year, then I will have a successful life. Let's apply it to the financial freedom formula. Divide your bodacious financial freedom money goal by 365 to determine your daily delivery. Use this financial freedom formula as a method to establish your personal value, both present and future. Listen to the Purposefully Profitable Podcast episode 2 to learn how to calculate both present and future value and why it is important to have both numbers. If you set your desired personal value at $100 an hour and you choose to find a way to earn that amount for 8,760 hours in a year, again, listen to the Purposefully Profitable Podcast episode 2 to learn why you want to use this number, then your desired income is $876,000 for the year. Knowing your number will help you decide what personal pain you can relieve for people on a large scale in a way that pleases them to pay you. Remember this, even if you are contracted by a corporation to provide your product or service, it's a person with a pain that decides to hire you over someone else. Don't ever think that making money can be a nameless, faceless transaction. People hire people, and people do business with people they know, like, and trust. How did that figure of $876,000 in annual income hit you? Did you get excited, or did it make you gag? No worries. It's not about the money, not now and not ever. Having the money figure helps you decide what you must do. I will tell you that my figure is much, much higher than that. And once I set it and break it down, then I forget it and focus on the daily execution of delivering the value. To earn $876,000 in a year, you need 876,000 people to pay you $1. What can you do to provide a pain relief for which 876,000 people would be willing to pay you $1? Suppose that product or service were worth $10. Do you think they would pay you $1 for $10 worth of value? Maybe you can create a value worth $100 and charge $10, reducing the number of people for whom you need to provide pain relief to 87,600 people. Once you have your number, then you can begin to think of creative ways to achieve it. The goal is to provide the value that leads to the outcome. Knowing the number will help you with driving the action. And it's all about action. Listen to the Purposefully Profitable Podcast episode number 2, Tips and Techniques Tuesday, to learn how to operate from a position of personal power, which will make your daily action fun and fulfilling as well as profitable. Knowing your number helps you to make and modify your business model. When I use the term business model, I'm simply talking about how your business makes money. By setting my bodacious goal and working through this exercise, I realized that I had to find a way to serve a large population of people to achieve my goals, and one-on-one work would not get me to where I wanted to be. Remember the law of compensation from the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, episode 10. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. Knowing your number helps you determine your exit strategy, and it helps you develop the pro forma portion of your business plan. We'll talk more about business models, exit strategies, and business plans in future episodes of the Purposefully Profitable Podcast. Knowing your number makes it possible for you to focus on goal achievement rather than pure problem solving. Problem solving is battling against yesterday's bottom line. or pursuing goals is providing you with profitability in the present. You expend the same energy in overcoming obstacles, but the outcomes are significantly different. In summary, here are 5 key points from today's Money Math Monday. 1. Knowing your number is a purposefully profitable principle. 2. Make your money mission manageable and motivating. 3. Break bold and bodacious numbers down to the blatantly basic. 4. Divide your bodacious financial freedom money goal by 365 to determine your daily delivery. 5. A habit of having series of successful days eventually leads to a successful life. This has been another Money Math Monday with your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes. If you have questions or feedback, please forward them to russ@systro.org. We would love to hear from you. Subscribe to the Purposefully Profitable Podcast today so you will not miss a single episode. And thank you for listening.